Good morning and welcome to this weekend's Brunch Club, where we toast to all the amazing, diversely faceted women out there, filling your cup with inspiration and encouragement as our guests share their personal stories, experiences with careers, family, parenting, equality, mentoring, and advice. The Brunch Club is where we raise a glass and champion female talent and leadership everywhere, and where sparkling is always encouraged. Now, here is your host, Rachel Swoboda.
Hey everybody, I'm Rachel Swoboda and welcome to the Brunch Club. So, I gotta tell you, we're doing something that we've never done before, and back by popular demand, we have Tiffany from Entice here to talk a little bit more about health, wellness, all around sexuality. And this is the first time that we've had a guest on the show that people were so excited about that we got an overwhelming response. And there's so many more areas that Tiffany can go deep into. Wow, that sounded dirty.
It's always an innuendo, Rachel.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tiffany because there are some really, really amazing areas that she's going to discuss with us today. So please, welcome again. Thank you for being on the show.
I'm flattered. How exciting.
Yes. Okay. So take us away.
Well, I just really want to, a lot of, probably the most common question that I get, or the most thing that comes up with women that I work with is, oh, I don't want to have sex. It takes too long. And so sex is something that gets put on the back burner in relationships a lot. But if you think about when your relationship or your love life is going great, how much smoother everything else in life is. So I call it life's lubricant, because when all those little everyday stressors and irritations and everything just kind of go away. You don't care if the dishwasher's loaded correctly or if the trash is taken out when you're really connected with your partner. And then on the same thing is when you're not connected, all those irritations really are amplified and magnified, and you're like, oh, he's pissing me off, I'm not going to have sex. And then you stop having sex, and then you don't want to have sex because your libido naturally decreases when you stop having sex. And a lot of times women come to me and say, I love my husband and I want to have an intimate relationship. I want us to last forever. However, I'm just not really into it. And I think that is a lot because it's not great. And if it's great, you want to have it all the time.
Well, okay.
What do you think?
I think there's two things there. One is something that you shared with me off camera that I want to bring back about how you said one of the first questions you ask couples when they come to you is, how often do you have sex? Or when was the last time you had sex? And I think that is the best question, because what you were just describing about the garbage being, taken out and those things, what a great place to start, right? What's the average answer that they give to that question?
Most would say once or twice a month.
Once or twice a month. Do you think that's enough?
It's not. Actually, a sexless marriage is considered one time or less a month. So if you're having sex 12 times a year, you're in a sexless marriage.
And when you say that it's not good, what does not good mean for most people? Just putting some tactical things around it. In case someone's at home and they're like, I don't know. Is it good? Is it not good? I don't know. Because I feel like one of the things I've noticed when I was in my younger years, my girlfriends and I talked about boyfriends and sex all the time. And then all of a sudden everyone got married and we stopped talking about it. It was all of a sudden either things are amazing or things are crappy, but you're not going to know about it because they muzzled the whole sex talk. So I don't know how they feel. And so you probably know.
I do know because people tell me everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
What I hear and what I know to be true is that by the time we get done with everything else in our day as women, that sex is the last thing that we want to do. And so, women typically have more affection from children, and they get their oxytocin that way from the touch. And a lot of times, especially new moms, have had all the touch they can handle during the day from their baby.
Come on, moms. You all know that feeling. You're nursing or your kid's coming into bed with you at night and they've been on you, right? They've been on you for hours.
The last thing you want to do is to have somebody else touch you.
You're like, I'm good. I'm done. Like, I just want 5 minutes alone. But it's a different type of touch. But the oxytocin, your body is still reacting to.
Right. And if you are thinking, oh, well, that's the last thing, like, oh, I'm tired, I want to go to bed, it's going to take me 20 minutes to get even into it, and then it's going to take me another hour to orgasm. Like, I just would rather sleep for an hour and a half than do that. However, you can train your body, and I now train women how to have spontaneous orgasms, so it doesn't take that long.
What's a spontaneous orgasm, really?
Yeah. Like,
what?
I told you earlier that I was late because I was masturbating.
And that's what we should talk about.
But I was only 10 minutes late because I literally can have an orgasm in like 3 minutes because...
Oh.
And it's an internal orgasm. It's not just a clitoral orgasm because you can train your muscles to that. So if you could have great sex in 5 minutes like your partner does, because men can literally last like 2-3 minutes. That's their top, like, average.
It's okay, gentlemen. You'll have your own show later.
Is that if we could match that together, then it's like, oh, it's going to take 10 minutes. Then why wouldn't you want to do it?
Okay.
Instead of an hour.
So I think it was a couple months ago, you were putting out these tips, and they were on your social media, and I was getting emails, and there was one that I think really relates to this, where you said, women, the best way to have an orgasm is to have one right before. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember exactly what you were talking about, but I think that would help.
So if we self-pleasure, and we can bring ourselves to orgasm pretty quickly. On average, I think it's 4 minutes for women. However, because we know how to touch ourselves, we know what gets us going, we can do that quickly. So if we already have an orgasm before we go into partnered sex, it's easier to have the second orgasm.
Okay, so if it's the end of the day and I'm tired and I've been up with the kids and I've made lunches and I got them to school and I took meetings all day and I went to a networking event and I still made dinner and I got them to bed and I read stories and it was super awesome and now I'm exhausted. Okay, so if I go masturbate and then have sex, I'll probably sleep better. I'll probably feel more positive.
You'll feel connected.
Feel more connected.
You won't get irritated when he snores and you have to smack him in the middle of the night.
Okay, I try not to smack, but yes. But yeah, why? I don't know why they snore.
I snore, so I don't know.
But okay, so maybe that's part of the secret sauce.
It is. And I think women, we don't self-pleasure enough that if we self-pleasure on a more regular basis, you can really get to know your body and really then tell your partner and communicate to say, hey, do this, do this.
How do you tell your partner, do this, do that, without offending them? Without offending the very delicate male
such a great question.
Ego.
The best way to say is, it would be really hot if, or it really turns me on if, instead of I need you to, or I want you to, or I need, or you should. If you say, oh, wouldn't it be hot if, or I was having a fantasy that.
Oh.
And so really, and Esther Perel is a phenomenal sex therapist who is on TED Talks and has written books, but she really says that foreplay starts from the end of the last encounter. So you should always be having some flirty sexting and texting and, always having that game of, give and take, and having that, foreplay, so that when you get into bed, it's not like from 0 to 60. It's like, oh, I'm already aroused. And I think when we self-pleasure too, we're already aroused. Like if you self-pleasure every day, you're always just on that cusp of excitement.
Absolutely. Okay. When we come back, we are going to talk about something else that is very important for women, because a lot of women who watch the Brunch Club and that we know are a little bit older in life, and we've had a lot of questions about menopause. Mm-hmm. Yes. So when we come back, we're going to cover that too. Okay? See you soon. Welcome back to the Brunch Club. I'm Rachel Swoboda. I'm here with Tiffany. We are talking all about health and wellness related to sexuality. And we are getting ready to dive into menopause and how that changes a woman's approach to sex and how she and her partner can steer through that time together. And so Tiffany is going to educate all of us. So get your notepads ready, because these are going to be some real pearls of wisdom coming your way. All right, without further ado.
Well, in our society, in Western civilization, we have been told like, oh, it's just part of life. Menopause is part of life. You go to the doctor. And I know when I was 40, I went to my OBGYN, and I'd already said, I don't want to be on hormones anymore. I stopped hormonal birth control like 4 years beforehand. And she's like, you should just go back on the pill. It'll make you feel better. And I was like, that's not really what I want. Like, I don't want synthetic hormones in my body. And that's not a good answer. And so I went to figure out what is a good answer. And oftentimes I always hear my clients say, oh, well, my doctor said vaginal dryness is just part of life. Low libido, it's just part of life.
Part of life? That's not good enough.
And that's not good enough.
No.
Like, guys don't go to the doctor and they go, oh, I have erectile dysfunction. Oh, well, here's a pill.
It's good enough.
It's good enough.
No.
Oh, it's just part of life. You're just going to have to deal with it. No, we spend millions and trillions of dollars on that. One, vaginal dryness does not have to be a thing. If you use a proper lubricant and vaginal moisturizer that's chemical free, like we have a product called Sex Butter, which is amazing, that heals the cell walls, that gives you stimulation so that your body naturally produces moisture and you can have amazing sex. Like, it doesn't have to hurt. And then I take bioidentical hormones too. I have a pellet that releases hormones, but just being able to know that there are options, that it doesn't have to be that way, that we can have great sex for the rest of our lives. Sex changes. It doesn't always have to be penetrative sex, like other things.
Okay, like, go ahead.
Toys, oral, just touching.
But it's still all very intimate.
Yes.
And so there's a level of letting your guard down. As a woman, you're going through a change that is unfamiliar to you, and you might feel insecure. How do you bring your partner in with you into this journey?
Well, know that they're feeling insecure about themselves as well, because men experience erectile dysfunction and sexual issues. And a lot of times if men are saying, oh, I don't want to have sex, it's because they're concerned that they're not going to be able to perform. And so it's not that they don't want to have sex, it's that that's their own limitations. So we all take oh, well, I don't want to have women. We say, oh, I don't want to have sex because it's going to hurt because of vaginal dryness and irritation. And that's just the levels of hormones in our bodies change, and being able to, use lube. It's amazing. But don't use any lube. I'm going to
Go ahead.
put that as a caveat.
But if they call you or email you, there's specific ones, right?
So anything on enticeme.com you can use. Most lubes have drying agents in them and chemical preservatives that will actually dry out your tissue more and irritate, so that you have to use more and buy more, and then buy other pharmaceutical products as well. So all the lubes at Entice Me are free of parabens, petrochemicals, propylene glycol, anything that's going to irritate or agitate your skin.
That's good. And they've all been tested.
Yes.
I think that's fantastic, because a lot of products out there, when you go to the store or you go on Amazon, they're not tested. It's very different. You need to talk to Tiffany. You need to get an opinion that has been tried and true and tested and educated, and she will help you.
And all of our products are medical grade too, so they are tested and tried and very developed for people who have irritations. And I'm gluten-free and dairy-free, so it really helps.
Well, I love it because you've tested them all too, as in addition to your clients, which is great. So, all right, so we've talked about when children are little and what that's like. We've talked about menopause when you're a little bit older and what that is like. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you really want to cover before I totally take us on another path?
I see more and more young ladies that are having vaginal dryness and irritation, and that does come from hormonal birth control. And so just know that it is okay to use lube. There is this connotation that if you have to use lubricant, that something's wrong with you, and that's not true. Lube makes everything better. So it will make sex.
How do they know that they should use a lube?
If you get to that point where you're having any pain or irritation or rubbing when you're having sex, that shouldn't.
That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have plenty of moisture, I'm super wet. It's different. It's not the viscosity that you need that will make sex better.
So, when I said totally take a turn, I am going to take a turn that's about women's wellness. It's not really a sexy topic, but it's, okay, women are often plagued by yeast infections, bladder infections. We're a very delicately tuned machine, okay? That could also be something that why we don't want to engage in sex, or why we're not sure if we need lube or not, or do you want to talk about that too?
Yes. So many times, bladder infections are caused because we are getting bacteria into the urinary tract, which is very close to the vaginal canal.
It's easy. It happens.
It happens. So make sure that you always go to the bathroom after sex.
That's the rule. Ladies,
you get up and pee.
You just do.
And you tell your partner, say, if I don't, I know I want to be snuggly, but please say get up.
And go to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom.
Because
that's going to help. But as our hormone levels change, our tissue is more susceptible to micro tears and irritations. And so making sure that you have plenty of lubricant and that your hormones are balanced and that you're hydrated will really help.
Yeah. And, it's fascinating because these are the things that people don't talk about.
And many lubricants have glycerin as a main ingredient. And glycerin is actually a sugar derivative. So when it's in a warm, moist environment, it's going to create yeast growth and bacterial infections. So
just for fun, because often on the show, I talk about personal stories. I've talked about all sorts of things. And I got to tell you, it was a few years ago. And every time I had sex, I got a yeast infection. Every single time. And it was brutal. I was like, this is awful. I called my doctor. I was like, help, help. They were like, sorry. I was like, no, sorry is not an okay answer. Like, this is awful. I can't live with this constant, like, itch, and it was just bad. Anyways, they prescribed that it's a what do you call it? Steroid cream. And I was like, well, maybe I'm getting old. Like, this is what people need. And then I was like, well, why didn't anyone talk about this? And then I started thinking, well, wait a minute. 20 years ago, I was lactose intolerant and nobody talked about that.
Oh,
and
funny you say that.
It took me years of eating nothing but bread to figure out, like, why when I had a milkshake or a piece of cheese, I would, like, faint. I mean, it was, like, awful. So, like, just that little thing that I wish someone had talked about and told me. So we're mentioning these things today, not because we love oversharing, but because maybe you're going through it too.
So with the lactose thing, I used to always get yeast infections also.
Yeah.
When I was having sex, and I was using condoms and thought I was allergic to latex because my doctor was like, oh, you're probably just allergic to latex. No, I'm actually allergic to dairy, and when I found out that most condoms have a dairy powder on them, that when I switched to a vegan condom, which at Entice me, we only carry vegan condoms.
Thank you.
It's like a game changer. It's like, yeah, I'm lactose intolerant.
I'm lactose tolerant everywhere,
right?
Not
so
just
of course, like that
food.
powder on the condom is going to cause irritation in my body, and that was what was my issue.
So if you have a small question, if you have a large question, if you're in this on your own, if you're in this with a partner, or you want to like have a conversation with Tiffany, like she is a wealth of knowledge and information, and she can help you.
Yeah, connect with me on social media. It's at Entice Me Soirees on all the platforms. I have great videos on YouTube as well.
Yeah. So you guys, I mean, take control. You are an empowered woman. You are ready. Give her a call. It can't hurt, okay? So it can only make your life better and more enriched, and I hope that you do. So thank you for joining us on this episode of the Brunch Club, and let us know if there's anything else you want to talk about with sexual health and wellness, and we'll have Tiffany on a third time. It'll be amazing. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for stopping by the Brunch Club. It's been our pleasure to share this time with you. We look forward to bringing you more sparkling inspiration next weekend. If you have feedback, topics, or want to nominate someone to be a guest on the show, please reach out to us at rachel@sundaybrunchagency.com. Cheers!
Hello everyone, my name is Christina Webby. Welcome to my studio. I have created a system for my photo shoots to help you get the best outcome from each experience. The first step is the booking and the consultation, then the preparation steps, then the photo shoot itself, and lastly, we have the reveal and order session. First thing is the consultation, which is one of the pillars for the photo shoot. We'll go over all of the steps needed to accomplish the look that you're going for. We'll discuss the theme and the wardrobe. We'll cover all of that in person if possible, and I'll help you plan your photo shoot and prepare to reveal yourself and look your best for the camera. After the consultation, I'll hand you my welcome guide. This guide is very important to prepare you for the experience. It contains a wardrobe guide, a beauty guide, a product guide, also a written section on what to expect. When you're prepared, you'll feel confident. And that confidence comes from within, but it's a process I can help with. The professional hairstylists and makeup artists at the studio are really good at making you look your best version of yourself. 10 days after the photo shoot, you'll come back to the studio for your reveal session. This session is when you see your printed and matted photos on the wall for the first time. This session is where you decide which photos you love and you want to take home. Feeling confident and beautiful isn't something that pops up in front of the camera. the consultation and the preparation, the wardrobe session and the beauty guide, and everything you do prepares you for the experience. This photo shoot will help you own your femininity because it's a very personal experience and it teaches you about yourself. Photo shoots are very important because it reminds you of how beautiful you are. Your beauty is not in your lips or in your arms, it's in the way you look at people. It's in the way you reveal yourself and allow yourself to be viewed and seen with confidence, with power, and with grace. I am inviting you to a personalized photo shoot at the studio with me. It is so much fun. So let's do this.